Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to ruffle some more feathers as usual. We're talking about Cassie and Diddy again because there has been some revelation that I've been waiting for. I love to sit back in the cut like a sun and Scorpio moon would do and just wait for the information to unravel itself. Since Cassie has filed that lawsuit, there's been so many mouths just running amok, just running, from makeup artists to assistants to security guards coming out talking about everything that they've seen over a decade, all of, Sean's sexual preferences, drugs, abuse, so many things that many of them turn a blind eye to, some of them participated in. So many things have just come out. And I said, I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit and just wait for everything to kind of dissolve, because truth does find its way to the light. Now, when we start talking about abuse, it's very, very touchy. It's very triggering. And for those of you who have been physically abused if you're a man or a woman and you've been physically abused, you guys know the severity of that, the trauma of that. Now, I explained to you guys that I've never been beat up by a man. I got ass whippings by my father. That's about it. If a man whipped my ass, it was with a belt, okay? But I did explain to you guys in my book, Dating Scorpio, the relationship that I had, where it could have, it was, I swear to you, it was on the border of getting very messy. And messy means that, one of us could have been unalived. It was that deep, and I recognized that. And I was 19 years old when that happened. Speaking of which, a lot of you have come into the comments of my videos that I've made when I've presented the conversation of accountability. I know that is so hurtful to people who are in abusive relationships because they magically got there. The person just forced themselves onto them. Some of you have been. It's different. I'm not talking about those of you who are walking down the street, minding your own business, and the killer jumps out of the bushes, okay? I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you guys who are just minding your business and somebody jumps up out of nowhere and there's a sexual assault or there's some sort of misdemeanor that had nothing to do with you, or you're in the subway minding your business. I'm not talking about any of you. That is a whole different conversation. What I am talking about is someone who has their intent on something that they really want, and they meet somebody who can get them everything that they desire, maybe a great career or money or fame or what have you, and they make a decision to step into the realm of a lifestyle that they know is going to cost them their dignity, their pride. Maybe they're going to have to do things that they don't want to in lieu of whatever dream of success that they have. This is what we're talking about. So before I get into accountability, let me just go back to the age, because we're all talking about grooming. Ooh, what is grooming, right? She was 18, she was 19. I believe it was 19. I read the lawsuit. I read the paperwork. I forgot if it said 18 or 19. You can correct me in the comments. Nonetheless, let's talk about that age and what we are cognitively aware of. Because our brains aren't developed at 18 or 19. But I think we're pretty responsible individuals. And there's a lot that an 18 or 19-year-old can do. When I go back to my youth, I was 17 when I was a freshman in college. And I knew at 16 how to fill out that application to different colleges. I knew what it meant. I knew what I was doing. I knew at 17 when I got to school, I had to get, a job. I actually got 2 jobs. I was playing sports, and I had 6 classes. I knew how to get my ass up, go to my classes, be responsible. And that I knew at 17 years old. And I was away from school, so I had to be super careful how to handle myself, and just kind of take care of myself. Take care of myself out into the world where I'm young, and, I had to protect myself in many ways. There was a lot of predators around out in these streets when your parents aren't around, or your older siblings who can help you out and things like that. So I pretty much knew what was going on. I got my driving permit at 16. So you're able to drive. Let's see all the things that you're able to do at 18. Let's just start with that. You're able to join the military. I think my father went into the Marines at maybe 17 or 16. You're able to fight for your country. You're able to bear arms at that age. I believe you can buy a pistol at 18. You can certainly get your firearm license at 18 years old. You can buy a gun, you can buy cigarettes. In some countries, you can buy alcohol. You can drive, you can be someone's legal guardian. You can buy a house, you can rent an apartment, you can sign a lease. You can buy condoms, you can get any type of, birth control at that age. There's so many things that you are capable of doing. Okay, you're capable of doing. You can go to the NBA at earlier than that. There's so many things. You can fly by yourself. You can get on a plane. You can do all sorts of things at 18, 19. So when people keep saying that she was too young to know anything, they act like she was a 4-year-old with a teddy bear in her hand. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew who Sean Combs was. He was the biggest producer, like at that time, just like the biggest producer, period. She knew that he could put her on. She became the face of Sean John. Go look it up. So she got, a lot of coverage. She got a lot of coverage, award shows, being in the public eye, just being affiliated with him. Just that name of like, I know him, I'm with him, got her so much. Now, I'm looking at a chart actually, and just to bring that up, she has a moon in Taurus, which rules money. People with a moon in Taurus, they're going for that no matter what. And I know this is like so challenging to hear right now because of the video that we saw. We saw that really brutal video where she's running out of the hotel room and he's physically assaulting her. That was painful for everyone to digest, okay? It was painful for everyone to digest. But that doesn't take away the facts. It doesn't take away 11 years of whatever else they had going on. It doesn't distract me from all of the photos of her having a good time with her $1 million apartment and her new car and her Birkin bags and whatever else, Chanel and all the stuff that he did shower her with. It doesn't take all that away either. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't take away the fact that she got to live a certain lifestyle. Her parents got money. Her siblings got money. There were a lot of bills taken care of. It doesn't take away that. And a lot of people, with their brains, you guys know that I have Mercury conjunct Uranus. I'm a forward thinker. I think out of the box. I think ahead of the game. I am able to compartmentalize like fiction from fact. Even if something did happen, even if there was a brutal beating, that doesn't take away the fact that she made a decision to be with him because she wanted something specific. She was not in love. In fact, if you go and research, I don't have it with me, an interview, she wanted to get married. She did. She told the security, she was like, oh, he talked to him. He's got to marry me. And this like, if it's so bad, why do you want to be married? Why do you want to be married? So I say all this to say, at 18, 19, oh, honey, you know a lot. You know a lot. Now, I'm not saying that you're not still in development and you're susceptible to a lot of things at the age you really are. But at the same time, we can do hard things in life at 18. There are people taking care of their parents, their siblings, they're raising them. They're working 3 and 4 jobs. They are extremely responsible. I grew up with some people who knew exactly what they wanted to do at that age. They were so structured and disciplined. And I'm telling you, they stayed out them streets. They stayed out the clubs. They stayed out them drugs. And now they own businesses and they're doing really well. Everybody is not open to manipulation. Everybody can't be groomed like that. It depends on what you're seeking and what you're willing to give up. What you're willing to give up, because we all know danger when we feel it. Even the 4-year-old knows it. They're like, uh-oh. Okay? Accountability. Ooh, that is so challenging, particularly when it comes to women, because I don't think in society women are harshly held accountable as men are. I don't know why. And this is something I remember my father saying, and I thought he was just being mean. I don't know how old I was. I might have been in like my late 20s or something. But I was like, nah, he's just being like that because he's a man. And now I really do see it. I really, really do see it. And a lot of you guys don't. You turn a blind eye. You turn a blind eye because you see one video. Now, interesting enough, and I'm not saying, once again, here's my disclaimer, I don't agree with what he did. Nobody should be getting punched on, dragged down the hall, or any of that stuff. That's not what we're doing. I know that I knew it was wrong, and I wasn't getting myself into that situation. After an argument with one person that almost turned violent, oh no, you don't, honey, I ain't coming back for seconds. I knew that at 19. I know what abuse is. And so accountability, when we talk about that, can you be accountable? Can you come out and say, listen, this is what I wanted. I knew who he was. I knew what I wanted. I knew I can get X, Y, and Z from him. I knew I was his type. Just like a Karrueche Tran knew that before she got with Chris Brown. Just like, all of these others who date individuals and they know who these men are. And they say, look, I'm his type. I know he'll go for me and I can get X, Y, and Z. But that's all they're thinking about. They're not really at that moment saying, well, I got to give up all of this. Not yet. Not yet. They find out pretty quick. But they're like, oh, I'm his type. No problem. I won't have any problem getting money or getting a house or getting my bills paid or getting trips. She didn't come out and say any of those things. She didn't say, I really wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to have this career. I knew just by, reading about him and talking to other people that he was a very intense person who needed a lot of control. And I knew I was going to have problems. And I know that that wasn't the direction I needed to go into, but I went anyway. And I did enjoy the furs, and I did enjoy the apartment. I did enjoy the money, and I did enjoy being flown in private jets, and it was great, and it was amazing. And that's the part that no one wants to really confront. That's called accountability. It is. It's called accountability. It really is. When you are with someone for a specific reason, and you got to pay the piper at some point. It's like if you're a woman listening, if a man keeps taking you out, he done took you out 10, 12 times, honey, you think he's not looking for you to come over and have sex with him? Oh, are you serious? What do you think's going to happen? Of course he is. Of course he is. And if you're a high profile man, that should be up front. It's not like regular Jamal who live around the corner who's like, oh, I've taken her out 5, 6 times. Maybe she'll let me kiss her, or maybe she'll let me, get further. Maybe she'll give me a hand job. Or like he's looking for shit like that, like more on a level of like hoping that it happens. When you're Sean Combs, you know it's going to happen. Period. Too much is being invested. Jamal around the corner don't have $10 million to spend on your rent. Okay? So he can sit there and wait and maybe pray that he gets to have sex with you after taking you to Denny's or the Cheesecake Factory or whatever. Sean Combs can take you to the corner store, and as long as he knows that he could put you on, it's guaranteed for him. Okay, whatever he wants is guaranteed in return, in lieu of that lifestyle that you're gonna get. And so I'm so thankful of this Roger Bonds who has come out, and he's only come out because he was mentioned, in the lawsuit. And I'm going to let you listen to a lot of what he had to say. And these are questions that I wanted answered as well. And I knew the answer to them, but I wanted someone who was running their mouths to finally come out and speak on it. And this person, unlike that Gene who is just running amok right now, he seems to have a little bit more of a structured mind and somebody who comes from a place of not trying to really truly, and I'm saying that right now at the making of this conversation, and in the future I may have to come back and be like, oh, I was wrong. But for right now, he seems to be coming from a different place. He seems to be a fair individual. He seems to be an intelligent person who's extremely honest and not doing this because he's trying to go against anybody. He doesn't seem like a secret enemy. He seems like somebody who had a real relationship with Sean, and it may have gotten intense sometimes, but maybe they were very open with it, with whatever relationship, who needed what and who had what. And because she mentioned him without telling him, he has every right to speak, because before that he was just minding his business. So I'm going to let you listen to what he has to say, and then we're going to comment a little bit more about it.
Well, I ain't taking sides when it comes to that situation, because I look at her being just as wrong as him. But for all the people that say that I'm looking for clout off of it, my name got brought into it. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all was going through everything that y'all was going through, I never jumped out the window. I never said nothing. I had my beef with Puff individually. You know what I'm saying? For not standing on 10 toes with my son. That was my beef. It wasn't until later on where everything else came into play. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be honest with you. Some of those things I knew, and some of them things I didn't know. So I don't think it's fair for people to say I knew everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Some of them I did know. Did I ever see him hit somebody? Yeah, I definitely did. Did I ever see him and Cassie fight? Yes, I definitely did. When she said that I came in between them fighting, did I do that? Yes, I definitely did. But I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't think it was a wrong thing, because I never seen the things that she actually, like the stomping out and the beating, and I've never seen stuff like that. I would jump into something after the first blow, like not on my watch. You know what I'm saying? My thing was more or less arguing and fighting in front of on Sunset Boulevard. What are y'all doing? Right. This is such and such. This is such and such. Yo, get the fuck in the car. You know what I'm saying? Because it works both ways. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him put his hands on her, and I've seen her put his hands on him. And see, that's what people don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to just go crazy. And I'm not saying that neither one is right. But there's been times where I jumped in the middle of it and snatched Puff up, because you talking, I'm 260 at this particular time. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm eating the iron right now. So me snatching him up was nothing. But when I snatch you up and I'm walking away from you, and then all of a sudden somebody run behind you and kick you in the nuts, how much could this really had hurt you? You know what I'm saying? Like she mentioned, she said, yo, Barnes put us in the Cadillac and we was riding. But you didn't mention that he was sitting on the passenger side next to me. And from the back, you hit him upside his head and punched him in the face with a ring. And the people seen it and it was like, oh my God. So you got to talk about both parts. Now, as far as a man, I feel like a man is physically stronger than a woman. Period. I don't care about nothing. So no man got a right to put his hands on another woman. Point blank. So it's been times where I got hit upside my head with my wife with a fucking garbage can. And I'm more or less like, oh shit. But I'm not thinking about hitting her. I'm not thinking about her. I'm just like, okay, she gonna get over this shit later on. I feel like busting her ass. But I'm not. And that's where I feel like he wrong. That's where I feel like he a coward.
The majority of times in these situations, you never hear about the other side. You know, did Cassie just sit there the whole time for over 11 years in a fetal position? I don't think so. I don't think so. And of course, a man is bigger, stronger, and so forth. But, you know, the door is open, you know, and we're talking about in the preliminary stages. Never mind 11 years later when things have, you know, gone completely just off the hinges. We're talking about in the beginning, the first time you get a nudge, the first time you get pushed. I'm so happy that he talked about, you know, her punching him in the side of the head. And it didn't seem like it was in the midst of fighting. It's like get in the car and then she like snuck him, probably from something he did prior or whatever else. There was this back and forth of hitting going on, you know, and oh gosh, I can just see the comments now. Victim shaming. Nah, 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 nah. Some of you guys, I swear, your brains just shut off and you just want to believe something. You really do. You just want to believe one thing. You know, I've seen many of these stories. Sometimes I don't talk about them. Actually, most of the time I don't talk about them. But I watch them and I study them, particularly on an astrological basis. And I'm looking at the Rihannas and the Karrueche trends, both abused by their boyfriends. Both parents had a lot of issues. We know that Rihanna's parents, drug abuse issues, a lot of volatile issues. Karrueche's parents as well. And they both ended up in these relationships, as well as Cassie. You know, maybe not as long as she has. You know, she stuck around for a very long period of time. Like I said, anybody I know with a Taurus moon, honey, they will stick around for that bag. And her son, the ruler of her son, is in Leo. Are you kidding me? She wants that shine. She wanted that recognition. I think about all this stuff, and I've seen pictures. You remember, guys, when that picture went viral of her butt naked with her legs spread. Like, I couldn't believe. Like, when I saw that, I was just like, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine it. You can go and say, oh, he probably made her do it, right? This was somewhere around like 2009. I think they got together around 2007. I'm not 100% on that. You can check me in the comments, but she made some decisions to do. Nobody brings that up though. Everything is overlooked. Everything is overlooked, and there is no type of, and I don't see even in interviews. Speaking of Karrueche and Rihanna, I hate to bring them into this because this has nothing to do with them, but it kind of does have something to do with them because it's like these patterns keep coming up, and there are many others. You guys could think of many others that kind of came to the surface. And you can see this, but I do love to study relationships and the psychology of it. Obviously, Scorpio, we love to dig deep, and I love to know where the seed was planted. Where did this come from? How did this come about? And, you get that specific types of women, who go through this and they're interviewed later. Nobody ever asks them questions of like, listen, how did you get into this situation? Like, when was the first time there was even an aggressive conversation or some disrespect? Like, didn't a light bulb go off then and say, wait, what is this? This is not what I'm about. I'm not interested in this. Or did you get into it like Karrueche did when she wrote her number down and made sure Chris's backup dancer got it because she knew that he had a weakness for women who looked like her, and she knew she could slide through. She was really confident. She came out of nowhere. She was just some regular girl working at Bloomingdale's, honey, and she knew he would go, his mentality, the way he thinks, and what type of women he likes. He knew she would go for her, and this is after the whole world watched Rihanna, come out of the hospital with that whole brutal attack and everything. She figured that like, oh, well, he'll treat me differently. Nah, honey, it don't work like that. And, she even went on an interview and was like, oh, thanks, Chris Brown, for buying me a house. Like, she enjoyed the benefits. She enjoyed, having a career because of him. She enjoyed being on the red carpet. She enjoyed all the steps that took her to where she is now, she got from Chris Brown. And yes, there are reports she got punched in the stomach. The neighbors who were complaining, they're always fighting, throwing down the stairs. Was it worth it? I don't know, guys. I don't know. It wouldn't have been worth it to me to, have to go against all my beliefs and values in order to be on TV. Like, for me, no, absolutely not. It's not worth abuse is not worth any of that. My parents were not the type who could be groomed and bought off. My father would have been like, get the F out my face, get away from my daughter. My older brothers would have had a problem with this dude. Like, it's all there, guys. Why didn't she go away? How come she didn't leave? I want you to listen to a little bit more of this commentary, and maybe it'll break down why. Let's see.
Nobody had you handcuffed. I mean, you read a lawsuit. Of course, we know when you read a lawsuit, the lawyers are sitting there and they telling you exactly what to say for it to stick.
Right.
How you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you got to say for it to stick. So when I read the lawsuit, it's a lot of overbearing stuff on it. When I say, like, I wasn't there, so I can't say how much he punched you in the face. I can't say how much he stomped you or he kicked you. But I can say something happened because you got these bruises on you.
Yeah.
But I also could say, why you ain't going nowhere? Why you ain't leave?
Yeah, that's been like the unspoken question that, like, you know what I'm saying?
And that's when I read the lawsuits and the words say, oh, I tried to leave, but he would come, or somebody from the office would call you. But at the end of the day, this is not Jeffrey Dahmer with somebody tied up in a room and handcuffed. This is a multi-million-dollar person at this particular time, because he wasn't a billionaire yet. But throughout his different relationships, I've seen the outcome of him being abused, right? And each one of these women had the courage to leave.
Right.
Because you got to understand, he's not going to risk everything. I've seen women say, yo, I'm not fucking with you no more. And that's that. And when they got that look in the face, he know. So to me, I feel like when Cassie says things like that I couldn't leave, I feel like, nah, it's not about that. It's about the jury. It's about the money. It's about the clothes. It's about the trips. It's about your career. It's about everything. But when you get sick and tired, you don't give a fuck about none of that no more. I'm getting away. I seen it with my mother. So you can't tell me that you can't leave nowhere. I've seen it with my mother. My mother ain't have nothing. She had to go into a shelter for abused women. And that's why she could just take my son, my brother with her.
Right.
So I've seen a person leave without nothing. You're not leaving with nothing, but you still want to stay for the perks. But the ass whippings and everything is a part of the perks.
I am going to sit back and keep my eye on this. Like I said in my original podcast video, about the phoenix rising from the ashes, this type of evolution in his life. He was going in a direction that was completely just off kilter, and this is necessary. And for you Scorpios listening, a lot of times the things that you've gone through, you needed that tower falling in order to wake your ass up and build from scratch. And this is what he's going to do. And I know he's going to do it. And just mark my word, just sit with me for a moment. Just sit. Those of you who are impatient, who are very rash, you're going to have a lot to say without even, thinking about things. And I can separate feelings from facts and things like that. I can do that. I can sit with myself and say, well, this may have happened, but that doesn't erase this. Doesn't erase her whole 11 years or more with him. It doesn't erase the fact that her parents took money to be quiet. Her parents, took vacations. We don't see her brother coming out. This is actually the first time with Roger Bonds talking about the parents. Sean got to a point where he was paying for trips and probably paid off parents' bills and things like that. They kept very quiet because they gained from it. And I was surprised, and you can go research this video where he told the parents, like, I'm her father now. She's calling me dad and stuff. Like, a very bold move, but I mean, he definitely wouldn't have gotten away with that with my father. So you have to be susceptible to be grooming, open to be grooming. And her parents were like that. They stayed quiet. They benefited. This is why we don't see him coming out. And Roger talks about that. He talks about how the parents just shut down because Sean paid for things and he took control. And looking at Cassie's chart again, when I talk about your Mars as a woman being what you're attracted to, her Mars is in Capricorn. She loves powerful men. Loves it. And I want to sit back as well and watch her with this Pisces husband, which is her opposition, which is somebody who I know, I don't know for a fact, I can't give you facts. He's not financially taking care of her. I know he's not. And this $30 million came in handy, which I'm not saying that she shouldn't have it or should have it. That's not even where I'm going with this, but she likes men with power, okay? Any woman you see with a Mars in Capricorn, honey, they love it. They love the power, and the prestige. It's not just power; it's prestige in men. It's the hierarchy. It's the hierarchy. It's the ability of him to be in control of others, to make shit happen. That's what she likes. And that was part of why she stayed, you know. That was part of why she stayed. She wasn't with somebody she considered weak. He could make moves for her. Okay, he can make moves for her. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have you been sitting back actually listening and paying attention and watching this all unfold? I love to sit back and watch other people just kind of jump the gun and start running their mouths while I just gather information slowly and accurately and say, and kind of just put the little pieces together. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next podcast video. Like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. You can get my books at ScorpioSunScorpioMoon.com along with any of my readings.